What's good, everyone? Aggie Coach here. All right, guys, so welcome to another video. This time we are talking about the 46 defense. Okay, now this is one of the defenses that I know very, very well. We ran when I was in college playing football. We ran the 46 defense, and Coach Hayes, our head coach, made us learn the history of the 46, and we ran it the way that it was originally developed. So the 46 was developed by Buddy Ryan, and it was taught by his son Rex Ryan, right? So the version that I'm going to show you guys, we ran 3 different versions of 46. The version that I'm going to show you guys, the first version that I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to show it to you the way that it was created, when it was originally created by Buddy Ryan, exactly the way that his son Rex Ryan taught it, right? And then in the next video, I'll show you a hybrid version where you can bring in a nickelback, and then we can make some changes. Now, the 46 is a lot more complicated than the previous defenses that I've shown, okay? And so the reasoning for that is because what happens with what Buddy Ryan called the Jack linebacker. So you have Jack, Sam, and Mike. And the way that those linebackers were, those positions was originally created, they were stacked to the strong side of the field. And they played a very significant role. Like, they were committed to the line and essentially smashing a tight end at the line of scrimmage to stop that tight end from being able to get out in the flat or get across the middle to catch any quick passes. What that did was that slowed things down on the strong side of the field, and it made quarterbacks have to make decisions sooner than they were ready, and that allowed a lot of pressure to get to the quarterback. So this essentially is a blitzing defense. Now, here's the other thing too that you got to keep in mind, and this is what makes it complicated. Traditionally, when the 46 was created, well, historically, when it was created cover one, and everybody is locked man to man, right? There's no zone here. Now, when we get to the hybrid version, I'll show you a hybrid version in the next video. When we get to the hybrid version of the 46, then we'll bring in a nickelback, and we'll drop the linebackers, bring in a nickelback, and then we'll start running some zone and start disguising it a little bit. But this one right here is the one that I particularly specialize in. I know it very well because it was taught to me in college. So we're going to go with the historical one first, and I'm going to break down all of the techniques for you guys. And you guys will have to forgive me. I'm kind of meticulous about this kind of stuff, and I hope that I don't bore you guys with a whole bunch of technical mumbo jumbo, right? But I just want to make sure, at least for the beginners, I just want to make sure that you guys kind of understand how the 46 is different from everything else that we did, okay? So we're going to look at the historical formation for the 46 first. Let's look at the offense just for a moment, because the 46 was intended to stop the run. Run first, pass second. Okay, so what we have offensively, we got a single back, right? We have a tight end to the strong side, and then we have a tight end slotted to the weak side, okay? And then we have our 2 receivers, 1 receiver on the line, 1 receiver off the line, okay? So that's what we got for our offense. Defensively, we're in the 46 right now, so this is the way that Buddy Ryan originally created it. So first you have your zero technique, which is your nose tackle. So that's number 90 here. So you got your zero technique. He is lined up over the center. Sorry about that. He's lined up over the center. Okay, so that's what is called the zero technique. We'll get into their rules later. Okay, and then you have your defensive tackle, right? The defensive tackle is your 3 technique. That's right here. So this defensive tackle, he is shaded. So he is always shaded to the inside shoulder of the tackle, of the offensive tackle, right? That's the 3 technique. He's playing that gap. Typically, they play both B and C gap. So he's playing that gap, okay? All right. Now, also on the weak side over here, we have our Sorry about that, guys. We have our top defensive end. The defensive end on the weak side is always 2 yards outside of the tackle and 1 yard outside of the tight end. So it's very important that you remember that, because the defensive tackle on the weak side has the responsibility of turning everything to the inside of the backside pursuit, right? So if the ball goes to the weak side, the pursuit is going to the weak side, but it's still backside because of the positioning of the linebackers. So that defensive end over here, this defensive end, his job is to loop and turn everything inside and not allow anything to get outside. Okay, so then we have our other 3 technique. Now, this right here is where when we get to the hybrid, where things will change a little bit. The other 3 technique is the other defensive end, but you'll notice that defensive end is shaded over the tackle, over the right tackle. This is the defensive end right here. Typically, the defensive end is on the end, but the way that Buddy Ryan taught it, that defensive end is playing outside shade over the right guard, right? His job is to play A and B gap, right? Now, the functionality of this particular defensive end is to shade off the Mike linebacker. This is our Mike linebacker right here. And that is to make sure that those offensive linemen don't get to the Mike linebacker. They can't get to level 2, right? So this is going to really, really clog up those running lanes and make it difficult to run the ball up the middle. Remember, the 46 is all about stopping the run. All right, now we're going to get to the other side of the field. So we have 2 other linebackers. There are 3 linebackers in here. And they play a number of different ways. So just sticking with the base for the 46 right now. So you got your Sam backer, which is right here. So you got your Sam backer. He is outside shade, right, of the tackle. So he is on that right tackle's outside shoulder. Okay? He's on the tackle's outside shoulder. Now, you got to know your personnel. It's very important that you know your personnel, because that Sam backer has to be able to back off that line when the ball snaps if they are reading pass. So he has to be an athlete. So you have to make sure that your Sam backer is an athlete. He has to be able to back off that line, and he has to be able to jump routes coming out of the backfield. So that's really important that you keep that in mind. And then you have your jack linebacker, which is playing normally where the defensive end will play. And he plays the same role as the weak side defensive end. He turns everything to the inside. He also has to be an athlete, because he has to be able to run with those tight ends, or with the back that comes out of the backfield. It depends. So the jack linebacker and the Sam linebacker have back out the backfield, and or the tight end, and or any slotted receiver, right? So that's where things get complicated. We'll get into that when we get into the hybrid version. All right, so now let's look at the Mike backer. So there's a bunch of things that we do with the Mike backer. The Mike backer is right here. There's a bunch of things that we can do with the Mike backer. You can stack him over top of the 0 technique, which is your nose tackle, or you can stack him over top of the 3 technique, which is our defensive tackle here and our defensive end right here. Right now, I have him stacked over top of the left side 3 technique, playing C and B gap. And the reasoning for that is because that's the way that the founder intended for it to be played, right? So right now, I'm just showing you guys the way that the 46 was originally created. Okay, now is the very important role here. All secondary personnel are man on. They are locked, right? They're locked in man to man. Now, very important is the strong safety. In the hybrid version of the 46, the modern version of the 46, and in this original version of the 46, right? The strong safety plays a very important role. So you need to keep this in mind. Your Mike backer needs to be between 4 and 6 yards on the line of scrimmage, and he needs to be able to play up and play back. Your strong safety is 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, but he's playing like another linebacker, right? So his responsibility is important because he's always locked on the nearest receiver, and that's always the slot receiver. So that strong safety right here is responsible for this tight end. This defensive end's responsibility is to slow that tight end down. His responsibility is to get some pads on that tight end, turn that tight end into the wash, turn him inside, make it difficult for him to get out and run his route, and then pinch down and go after the quarterback and apply pressure on the quarterback. The strong safety's job is to come up and pick up that tight end after the defensive end releases him. Okay? So, and then of course your cornerbacks are all locked man to man. And there's lots of things that you can do with them. It's your choice since you're the coach. You can have them come up in the press coverage, or you can have them drop back, right? So you can shade them to the inside or to the outside. That's up to you. That's your choice. And then you have single man free. So you have your free safety who is over top. He's in cover one. Unfortunately, guys, that's the way the 46 is cover one. So remember the rule we talked about in cover one when we talked about the 34, right? And we talked about the 43, and we talked about the 44. We talked about the rules for cover one already. So you guys just remember that free safety has to be wherever he needs to be, right? So he's always over top. He's always the last line of defense. Okay, so that's enough of that. So this is what the original 46 defense looked like, right? So when it was originally created, this is how Buddy Ryan intended for it to play, right? So your nose tackle is your zero technique. Your defensive tackle is shaded to the inside corner of the weak side offensive tackle, right? He's the 3 technique, and the left side defensive end on the strong side of the field is also on the outside shoulder of the guard. He's shaded outside shoulder of the guard. He's also a 3 technique, right? And then you have your weak side defensive end over here, right? He's 2 yards outside of the tackle. His job is to make contact with the tight end and then get to the quarterback. Okay, so he has to turn everything inside. In this case, we're going to be doing the 46 against the run again. And so, guys, I apologize, but I just needed to make sure that you guys understood the 46, because here it was important, and this is the way that I was taught. It was important that you understand the way the founder intended for it to be first. And then when we start getting into the hybrids and stuff in the previous videos, for the 46, I'm probably going to do 2 videos because I want to show you guys a hybrid version where you can have a nickel package that will help you defend against the spread offense, which is what everybody's running these days. Okay, so anyway, this first one is going to be against the run, stopping the run. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the snap. All right. Now, there we go. So you noticed that the jack linebacker backed off of the strong side tight end. The Mike linebacker is staying at home. The free safety is staying at home. But look at our technique. So our 3 technique worked right here. Our defensive tackle, he did come up and he is shaded, and he did stop the offensive guard and the offensive tackle, the weak side guard and tackle, from penetrating into level 2, which is good. The defensive end over here also did his job. He turned that slot receiver, that tight end, to the inside. He took the outside position away, so the tight end can't get out here in the open to use this open space over here. The cornerbacks are locked man to man, so we got bump and run over here. We're taking space away over there, so they're going to turn and run. But because this is a run play, we are going to see how this thing turns out. So we're going to just have the quarterback go back and make a handoff, and then we're going to have everybody respond to that handoff. Okay, so here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to have my Mike linebacker. Now that he sees that it is a run play, he's going to get ready to come up and play the run. And my jack linebacker, remember, his job is to turn everything to the inside. So that tight end is going to have to block him. So we're going to set up that block right here, the tight end. So the tight end can go and make that block. This tight end here is just going to come and make the block. Okay. And then we're going to have our strong safety come up to make a play. We're going to just do a handoff. I guess for now, we'll just run it to the weak side. Don't want to run it to the strong side because that was the whole point of those linebackers being over there, is they basically taking the strong side away. So quarterback is going to make the handoff. Okay. Quarterback is going to make the handoff right here. And we're going to just hit the hole. We're going to just hit the hole and just see what happens. See how many yards they get. And as you can see, the 3 technique worked great because it's stopping the 3 technique and the 0 technique. And also the 3 technique over here, as you can see, is stopping the offensive lineman from getting into level 2, right? To apply pressure and block the Mike backer and the strong safety, right? And so because that's happening, that means that running the ball, oh, there it is, tackle. That was actually still a pretty good run. A gain of about 3, maybe 4 yards. Tackle by the strong safety. Pretty good run by the Tigers. Pick up a 4. And there you go. You got all of this pursuit over here. You got all of this penetration. Excellent blocking at the line of scrimmage. Look at the blocks. Excellent blocking by the Tigers. Tigers' offensive line blocked well. And the strong safety came up and made the tackle, right? Okay, so sorry for the long video, guys, but I wanted to show you guys the historical version of the 46 first before we start getting creative. And I'll show you the other way that we ran the 46 when I was in college at A&T. The other way that we ran the 46 in the next video. We'll do that to defend against the pass. We'll do a hybrid version of the 46 using a nickel package. All right. Don't forget, comment, like, and subscribe, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I was a bit worried about this video because I wasn't sure, if people really like the technical aspects of football or not. So I was a bit concerned about whether or not I should show it this way first or just make it fun and just kind of just show you the lineup and just run the plays. But, I decided that it was best to show it the way that it was originally done first and then have fun with it in the next video. All right, guys, comment, like, and subscribe. Peace.